brand new massive update coming to Path of Exile 2, as well as a bunch of buffs and nerfs. But overall, I want to say these are pretty positive changes. So let's go over the best change right now, which is the dodge roll. So some of these, they're actually already implemented, and then others is going to come in a later patch. One of the most exciting ones is the checkpoint. This is a big deal. I'm sure some of you guys maybe explored the map and it just takes forever to get to point A to point B, and then you end up doing some backtracking. You're looking for some sort of boss or whatever quest you're on. It just takes too long. We don't have really mobility skills except for, I guess, like leap slam. But for the most part, this is a big change because later what's going to happen is if you get a checkpoint, you can teleport to any of the checkpoints on the map. This is awesome. I love this change. But the other change that we are going to be getting is a dodge roll change. So this is a very big deal for certain classes. If you've ever played the Ranger, you know that you have this ability where you can shoot and it kind of like jumps out. So if you get surrounded by enemies, well, you're not going to die as often because this newer change is going to set the player size to 0 units. So what that means is, in theory, you should be able to get out of, these situations where you get surrounded by monsters. I'm curious to know how you guys feel about it. A lot of people, I guess, didn't like it. The way I saw it was like, it was kind of a difficulty check. Like, you had to kind of kill every single monster. Otherwise, if you were to get surrounded because you didn't kill every single enemy, yeah, it kind of felt bad. But that's kind of something that was in Diablo 1 and 2. And remember, Path of Exile 2 definitely shouted out Diablo 2 a lot of different times. So this is kind of a design decision which I genuinely didn't think they would go back on, because in terms of the way the game is designed, it's supposed to make the game hard and make you think about, do I want to go push? Because in Diablo 1, this is a very big issue. You always would sit in like corridors of doors where you would kind of wait for the enemies to come so that way you wouldn't get surrounded. But hey, that's cool that they're able to make these decision changes that I would say are kind of like baked in, that I did not think they would change. But a lot of people didn't like getting surrounded on some maps, especially if you get to like Act 2 and like you're on like the train area where there's a very narrow area. If you get one monster behind you, you can't move for certain classes. With certain classes, yeah, you can maybe leap out of the way, but overall, let me know what you guys think of the dodge roll changes. I'm kind of okay with either one, but as far as it goes in terms of dodging, you do have to use it quite frequently, so I guess this is going to be overall a kind of better quality of life for most players, and it technically makes the game easier. All right, next up, checkpoints. I already mentioned it, so this is going to be coming out later, but again, I would say this is the checkpoint change. Awesome update. I love it. They're doing some other changes with some items. They're saying that it's not rewarding enough. So I'm guessing that we're going to get more items. They actually improve the drop rates in different areas. We'll talk a little bit about that in a second. And then the rare monster changes. They felt that the rare monsters were not rewarding enough. So basically, we're going to be getting some extra rewards, which is going to be cool. It says this didn't affect the campaign as much because there's unique bosses, which increase the overall amount of drops. There is some nerfs, though, just as a heads up. Sadly, less exalts from the bosses. But anyways, here's what they're doing. The rarity bonus per rare mod has been doubled. We have 10% quantity bonus per rare mod, and increasing the chance of rare monsters inherently having more modifiers as you progress through the endgame. So monsters are going to get more challenging, but they also will be dropping more. So I like that change. It's like, we're going to make them harder, and we're going to get better rewards. And then there are currency changes, so there's going to be buffs to them, but there's also some nerfs, okay? So first off, the Regal Orb drop rates have been increased by 40%. That's to change your blue item to a yellow item. I think this is great because I think it takes too many 10 rares, because rares are kind of rare anyways. I mean, it kind of facilitates the name. I think what they could have also done is looked at, instead of requiring 10 of the things, to make it just like 5. Because again, Regal Orbs, well, you definitely want these in the game. Right now it's like 5 to 1 in terms of like exalt like ratio. Now, disenchanting 6 rare mods will give 2 Regal shards. If you get a rare item, this is where it kind of becomes 1 out of 5. So it was almost a suggestion I was just talking about. This is a big deal here. Lesser Jeweler Orbs. I've been playing for a while in lots of different classes, and man, I've gotten multiple classes to Act 2, and the drop rate of these is just incredibly rare. If you guys don't know what a Lesser Jeweler Orb is, this makes your like gems give additional like sockets, so it's additional link. This is actually pretty big. I just am not getting these. But they've also reduced the rate of Chaos Orbs slightly, as they're not valued as much because, well, yeah, they're not the same as PoE 1 in terms of what they do. It's basically an annul and a exalt into one. They also made it so the Gem Cutters Prisms drop rates have been increased by 500%, which, I mean, that could be a pretty big deal. And then on top of that, Gem Cutter Prisms now increase the quality on gems by 5% instead of 1. So instead of, I believe, 20 quality was the max in PoE 1. I haven't even gotten any of these yet, but in PoE 1 you would get up to 20 quality, so instead of requiring 20, well, you just need 5 of them now, or, well, it depends on how high it goes in this game. I don't know if it goes 23 quality, but nonetheless, that is an update on that, or 4 of them. Then you'd be at max. Anyways, as far as the map mod changes, so the rarity mods have been increased by 2.5. The quantity mods have an extra rarity added to them. This is now in a later patch to remove the bottom tier of some of the mods. You're much more likely to roll modifiers that affect drops or pack size rather than less useful mods. I was seeing on Reddit, some people were saying, dude, I can't wait to go get 0 loot at the end game for like some of the maps. And I've also seen some people say like, oh, I'm getting really good drops. For the most part, I would say a lot of people are saying, at least from what I've seen posted, is that we don't have enough loot. So if we're increasing all of these rarity mods, and then on top of that, all of the rare bonuses from all of the mods that the elite will have, then we will get a lot more loot as well. And then on top of that, there's unlucky drop protection. So one of the major issues is an unlucky drop. So a single boss dropping badly, especially early on, can significantly affect your character. So we have deployed the following changes. No more than 50% of a unique monster drops can be gold. So that's going to be cool. And then act bosses and map bosses will always drop at least 1 rare. So that's really cool. And then the first of these changes is more significant than the first appears, because players can't see the difference between normal and rare gold piles. Okay, so I guess you're going to get less gold, but you'll get more like loot. And then they fix a couple like bug issues over here. And on top of that, this is actually a nice change for people that are like at the end game. Rare monsters now appear on the minimap when there are 200 monsters remaining instead of 50. Now, there's other patch notes over here. There are certain things that do tie into kind of what we already talked about. But this was posted. This is also by GGG over here. But it's talking about some of the other issues, and I guess there was like some other bugs. Like, I'm not gonna go over every single like bug that's making it so like the game doesn't work, but most of these ones were covered already. I just wanted to mention. I'll also like link these down below in case anyone wants to read these. But a lot of these were already in that previous patch note, but there are other ones that were kind of side by side, and I want to kind of cover all of these little like patch notes that are kind of numbered here. So one of the newer changes is that Raging Spirits now only summons 5 per cast at all levels. The tooltip will be displayed, so it's going to be updated later. And then summoning Raging Spirits can no longer be spawned from triggering trigger fire skills. That's actually a pretty big deal. So if you had something like, I don't know if there's a cast on crit in this game, but unfortunately, I really like the identity of PoE 1. Like back in the day when you could like cast on whatever, it didn't like cost the resource or anything like that. And I think that like having these kind of unfortunately like make it worse for the game, because if I wanted to make some crazy big brain build like I trigger this on this to spawn in this, I like it. But you guys can let me know how you feel about this, but this is definitely going to be a nerf to any builds that would be using that. And on top of that, big nerfs over here specifically to the gas grenade and gas arrows. So over here, the explosion base, I believe this was with a lot of people playing the mercenary over here, so big changes over here. We got reduced from you know it got cut in half, well, 150 to 468, and then it goes to 240 to 749. That's what it used to be like. That's a big jump. I mean, if we're just looking at the high end of the number, again, we're basically cutting that in half. And then this one over here, cut in half as well, from 312 to 780. Keep in mind, this game is technically in early access, but you know, it's never exciting to report on like nerfs in any video game, but you guys can let me know how you feel about that. They also disabled the blood-soaked character effect microtransaction. That's like the whatever. This doesn't really matter too much. I'm not going to care about reading all of that. And then there's another thing where they reduced the damage of magnetic salvo's explosion by 40%. So that's a pretty big, like, you know, numerical change over here. This one, they reduced the amount of energy shield monsters gain from the rare modifier, extra energy shield. And then over here, they reduced the damage of supercharged slam by approximately 60%. I actually saw, shout out to DM, I think he was doing like some sort of like one-shot build, and unfortunately, that's nerfed over there, perhaps. But another thing I want to mention really quick is Path of Exile trade for PoE 2 is actually live. There are a lot of like things that like aren't implemented incorrectly. Specifically, if you go looking at like just getting the keyword resistance, it doesn't work. But I was using this last night, and a lot of people are like, dude, how are you getting this? It's I'm going to make a dedicated like video guide on how to trade in the game, but it's just pathofexile.com/trade2. That's like the website they're using. There's a lot of stuff that's broken and does not work with it right now, but it is so much better than having no trade in the game. But overall, let me know, guys, how you feel about it. I get it, it's early access, but it still you know, it feels bad to make a cool build and then it gets nerfed. But the reality is it's early access. There's things that are probably unintended. And like I said, I did not expect anyone to make one-shot builds. And if they do make them, more likely kind of expect to see these get nerfed. Maybe you can play them for like a day or two, but that was a really cool build, again, that I was seeing. But this is a massive, massive nerf. So let me know, guys, how you feel about them reacting to this, because even though some people will say, oh man, they destroyed my build, the thing is that, like I said, the game's in early access, and if we have certain builds that are like so much better, we run into the situation where people complain that like, oh, my class sucks, I didn't play this sort of skill, and then, you know, you kind of pigeonhole everyone into playing like maybe 2 or 3 different builds if they are super performing everything else. But that's the way it is right now. I mean, for me, nothing that I was playing got nerfed. I'm actually kind of worried about one other thing, which is the Mind Over Matter build with a belt that gives you 50% mana recoup. I want to build that, and I'm currently working on it. And if that does get nerfed, yeah, I'm going to be upset. But again, the way I see it is the game is in early access, and it's cool that GGG is actually, you know, very transparent and fast with this, and especially, again, with the changes to the game, especially with, like, you know, getting 40% more drop, like all these things. These are massive changes. 500% increased drop rate. And on top of that, we get basically 5 times the amount of value. Instead of 1%, we get 5. Like, these are very drastic changes in the game so early on, too. And it's cool that they're seeing that, like, people were saying, like, there wasn't enough loot. I think that that's definitely a thing, especially at endgame, when some people are posting some of their, like, results. But I don't know. Maybe it's early game maps that they were doing. And, you know, with PoE, you gotta, like, Alk and go, at least. And then hopefully you can get some better stuff. Well, in PoE 2, whatever currency it is. I guess Regal and go. After you, I guess you at least upgrade to a blue. Anyways, that's gonna wrap it up. Let me know, guys, what you think of the brand new patch notes. If you guys enjoyed the video, drop a like on it. If you want to be up to date with more PoE and action RPG goodness, as well, Diablo, hopefully we'll get a new update very soon, and we'll be covering that as well. But anyways, take care, and I'll catch you guys in the next video. Peace out.